Anna stood at the bottom of the hill and looked up at the mansion. The building was large, silent, and covered in years of dust and time. Tall trees surrounded it, their branches reaching toward the roof like quiet guards. The stone walls were dark, and many windows were broken or covered from the inside. The place looked forgotten, but it still felt strong, like it was waiting. Most people in the nearby town never came here. They crossed the road when they passed the hill. They spoke about the house in low voices and changed the subject quickly. Some said bad things had happened there long ago. Others said the house did not want visitors. Anna did not listen to those stories. She was 32 years old and had lived alone for most of her adult life. She worked online as a designer and could choose where she lived. For years, she moved from one small apartment to another. Every place felt the same. White walls, thin windows, loud neighbors. She wanted space and quiet. She wanted a place that felt real. When she saw the mansion listed for sale, she thought it was a joke. A 100-year-old mansion. Empty for decades. Very cheap. She read the details again and again. The photos were few and unclear. The description was short. No history. No promises. Just one line at the end saying the buyer accepted full responsibility. That line made most people close the page. Anna saved it. A week later, she drove to the town to see it herself. The real estate agent met her near the hill. He looked nervous and kept checking his watch. "You do not want this place," he said for the third time. Anna smiled politely. "I want to see it." The agent sighed and handed her the key. "We do not go inside. I am not allowed anymore." She did not ask why. When Anna unlocked the front door, the sound echoed through the empty space. The door was heavy and slow, as if it resisted being opened. Dust filled the air, and the smell of old stone and wood surrounded her. The entrance hall was wide and tall. A large staircase stood in the center, leading upward into darkness. The floor was solid but worn smooth by time. Paint peeled from the walls, and old pictures still hung crooked, their faces faded beyond recognition. Anna walked slowly, taking everything in. Her footsteps sounded loud, even though she moved carefully. Every sound felt bigger inside the house. She explored the ground floor first. There was a dining room with a long table covered by a cloth that had turned gray. A sitting room held broken chairs and a fireplace filled with ash and dust. The kitchen was large and old, with metal handles and cracked tiles. Nothing felt dangerous. Just quiet. She opened windows to let light in. Dust moved like fog, then slowly settled. The house seemed to breathe again after a long sleep. Anna felt something she had not felt in years. Peace. She bought the mansion 2 days later. On the day she moved in, she arrived with her car full of supplies. Food. Lamps. Tools. A mattress. She stood in front of the door again, this time as the owner. The wind was cold, even though the sun was out. "Hello," she said softly, not knowing why she spoke at all. The house did not answer. She chose a small room on the ground floor to sleep in. It felt safer than the upper floors. She cleaned it carefully, wiped the dust, and placed her mattress near the window. That night, the house made small sounds. Wood shifted. Pipes knocked. It reminded her of an old person moving in their sleep. She slept lightly but without fear. The next morning, she woke early and made a plan. She would clean one area at a time. No rushing. No guessing. She wrote notes in a small book, marking rooms and repairs. As days passed, Anna explored more of the mansion. The upper floors held many bedrooms. Some were empty. Others still had old beds and wardrobes. In one room, she found a child's toy box, untouched. She closed it gently and left the room. In the west wing, she found a large library. The shelves were filled with books of all sizes. Many were damaged, but some were still readable. She pulled one out and saw notes written in the margins. The handwriting was careful and calm. Whoever lived here loved to think. Anna began to feel that the house was not empty. Not truly. It held memories in its walls and floors. She felt watched sometimes, not by eyes, but by time itself. On the fourth day, she noticed something strange. On the second-floor hallway, one section of the wall looked different. The wallpaper pattern did not match. The wood beneath sounded hollow when she knocked lightly. She tried to find a door or handle, but there was nothing. She marked the spot in her notebook and moved on. That evening, she went into town to buy more supplies. At the store, an old man watched her closely. "You live in the hill house," he said. "Yes," Anna replied. He shook his head slowly. "That house keeps secrets." "All houses do," she said calmly. He looked at her with serious eyes. "Some secrets should stay buried." Anna thanked him and left. When she returned to the mansion, the sun was setting. Shadows stretched across the walls. The house felt colder than before. She stood in the hallway and looked at the strange wall again. Her hand rested on the surface. Behind it, something waited. She did not know what it was. She did not know why no one had opened it before. But she knew this. She was not the kind of person who walked away. The next morning, Anna woke with the strange wall still in her thoughts. Sunlight came through the window, soft and pale, but the house felt quiet in a deeper way. It was the kind of quiet that made a person listen to their own breathing. She made tea and sat on the edge of her mattress, thinking. Old houses had secrets. She knew that much. But something about that wall felt more important than a simple storage space. It felt planned, hidden on purpose. After breakfast, Anna gathered her tools. A small hammer, a flat metal bar, a flashlight. She told herself she would only check carefully. If it looked unsafe, she would stop. Standing in the second-floor hallway, she studied the wall again. The wallpaper was faded and torn in places, but this section looked newer. Not new in a modern way, but newer than the rest of the house. She peeled back a corner of the wallpaper. Behind it was old wood paneling. Clean. Untouched by time compared to everything else around it. Her heart beat faster. Anna tapped the panel gently with the hammer. The sound was hollow. She followed the sound with her hand, pressing along the edges until her fingers found a thin line running straight down. A door. She searched for a handle but found nothing. No lock. No keyhole. Carefully, she slid the metal bar into the thin line and pushed. The wood resisted at first, then gave way with a low sound. The panel moved inward, revealing a narrow opening. Cold air rushed out. Anna stepped back, surprised by the sudden chill. The air smelled old, like stone and dust trapped for years. She aimed her flashlight inside. A narrow staircase went down into darkness. Her first instinct was to close it and walk away. Whatever was down there had been hidden for a reason. But curiosity pulled at her stronger than fear. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The stairs were steep and narrow. The walls were made of stone, rough and uneven. Each step felt solid, though covered in dust. Anna moved slowly, keeping one hand on the wall for balance. At the bottom, the stairs opened into a small corridor. The ceiling was low. The flashlight beam showed old stone floors and marks along the walls. Scratches. Symbols. Lines that did not look random. Anna felt uneasy but continued forward. The corridor led to a heavy wooden door. Unlike the hidden panel upstairs, this door was clearly meant to be seen by someone. Thick metal bands crossed it, and an old iron handle hung loosely. She hesitated. Then she pushed the door open. The room beyond was larger than she expected. It looked like a study or workroom. A long table stood in the center, covered with dust but neatly arranged. Shelves lined the walls, filled with boxes, books, and glass jars that were now empty. Everything was placed with care. This room had not been abandoned in a rush. It had been closed. Anna walked closer to the table. Papers lay stacked in neat piles, tied with string. She picked one up and gently brushed off the dust. The writing was clear and careful. It was a journal. She sat down and opened it, her flashlight resting beside her. The journal spoke of the house and its owners from many years ago. A family that valued privacy. A family that believed certain knowledge was dangerous if shared too widely. Anna turned page after page. The writer spoke about building the hidden passage. About protecting something important. About fear of outsiders who wanted to take what was not theirs. Anna swallowed. There was no mention of anything dark or violent. No horror. Just caution. Care. A strong need to protect. In one journal, a final entry stood out. The writer explained that the secret was not an object but a truth. A truth about the land itself. About agreements made long ago between families. Agreements that were ignored when power and money became more important. Anna leaned back, trying to understand. Before she could read more, she heard something. A sound from above. Footsteps. Her body went still. The sound was faint, but clear enough. Someone was walking on the second-floor hallway. Anna stood up slowly. Her mind raced. She was certain she had locked the front door. No one should be here. She turned off the flashlight and listened. The footsteps stopped. Silence filled the hidden room again. Anna waited, holding her breath. Seconds passed. Then minutes. Finally, she heard the faint sound of the front door closing far above. She exhaled slowly. Someone had been inside the house. She carefully made her way back up the stairs and closed the hidden panel behind her. In the hallway, nothing looked disturbed. No signs of entry. No open windows. Her hands shook slightly. That evening, Anna drove into town again. She went straight to the local records office. The clerk looked surprised to see her. "I want to know about the old families who lived on the hill," Anna said. The clerk hesitated. "Those records are not requested often." "I own the house," Anna replied calmly. After a long pause, the clerk nodded and brought out old files. Anna read names, dates, land maps. One thing became clear. The land the mansion stood on was once disputed. Promises were made. Broken. The family who built the house had tried to protect proof of those promises. Proof that could still matter. When Anna returned home that night, she locked every door and window. She placed a chair against her bedroom door. Sleep came slowly. The house creaked softly around her. Somewhere within its walls, a secret waited to be fully understood. And Anna was no longer sure she was the only one searching for it. Anna woke before sunrise. Her body felt tense, as if she had been awake all night even though she had slept for a few hours. The memory of the footsteps stayed with her. She lay still and listened. The house was quiet. No movement. No voices. Only the soft sound of wind brushing against the walls. She got up slowly and checked the doors and windows again. Everything was locked. Nothing was broken. If someone had entered the house, they had done it carefully and left without a trace. That thought did not bring comfort. After making a simple breakfast, Anna returned to the second-floor hallway. She stood in front of the hidden panel and placed her hand on the wood. The surface felt cold. "I need answers," she said quietly. She opened the panel and went down the stairs again, this time with more light and a notebook. The hidden room felt the same as before. Still. Orderly. Waiting. She returned to the table and continued reading the journals. The writing told a slow story of the family who built the mansion. They were not rich by birth, but they had been trusted by others. The land they lived on had once been shared by several families who agreed to protect it together. Over time, new people came. They wanted control. They wanted documents that proved ownership. When those papers did not favor them, they tried to remove them. The journals explained that the mansion family hid the true agreements in this room. Not for power, but to keep the land from being taken unfairly. Anna felt a strange respect for the people who had lived here before. In one box, she found old maps. The ink was faded, but the markings were clear. Boundaries were drawn carefully. Notes explained water access, farming areas, and shared paths. It was clear that the land was meant to support many, not enrich one. Anna understood why someone might still be looking for this information. As she packed the journals into a bag, she heard a sound again. This time it was closer. A door creaking. Her heart raced. She turned off the light and listened. The sound came from the ground floor. Someone was inside the house again. Anna stayed still. She waited until the sound moved farther away. Slowly, she climbed the stairs and closed the hidden panel without making noise. She stepped into the hallway and froze. A man stood near the staircase. He was tall, wearing a dark coat. His face looked calm, but his eyes moved quickly, taking in every detail. "You should not be down there," he said. Anna did not respond at first. Her mind searched for the right words. "This is my house," she said finally. The man nodded slightly. "On paper, yes." That answer made her uneasy. He introduced himself as Mark and claimed he worked for a private land group. He said they were reviewing old properties in the area. "You are wasting time here," he said. "The house is falling apart. It will be taken down eventually." Anna held her ground. "I am fixing it." Mark smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. Some things should stay buried. She felt anger rise. "I have read the records. I know what this land means." Mark's expression changed. Just slightly. "You have read some things," he said. "But not everything." Before Anna could respond, he turned and walked toward the door. He did not rush. He did not threaten. He simply left. Anna locked the door behind him and leaned against it, breathing hard. She knew now that the secret mattered. Later that day, Anna visited the town library. She searched through old newspapers and local history books. Slowly, pieces came together. The land agreements mentioned in the journals were never officially cancelled. They were ignored, buried under newer claims. If the truth came out, it could change ownership rights even now. That night, Anna made a decision. She would not hide the secret again. Over the next few days, she worked non-stop. She organized the documents. She scanned the journals. She copied the maps. She contacted a legal historian she found online, someone known for handling old land disputes. The historian was cautious but interested. "This could matter," he said during their call. "But it will bring attention." "I already have attention," Anna replied. As if to prove her point, strange things began happening. Tools were moved. Doors she locked were found unlocked. Once, she returned from town to find muddy footprints near the back entrance. Anna did not leave the house alone anymore. She carried her phone everywhere. She kept lights on at night. Despite the fear, she felt something else growing stronger. Purpose. The house was no longer just a building. It was a voice that had been silent too long. One evening, Anna returned to the hidden room one last time. She stood in the center and looked around. "You trusted the wrong people," she said softly, thinking of the family who built it. "But I will not." She sealed the room again and placed furniture in front of the hidden panel. The secret was safe for now, but it would not stay hidden forever. Outside, a car sat parked near the trees. Mark watched the mansion quietly. He made a phone call and spoke in a low voice. "She knows," he said. "And she is not afraid." Inside the house, Anna looked out a window and saw the car drive away. The truth was moving. Slowly, carefully, and once it reached the surface, nothing would stop it. The next week felt longer than any Anna had known before. Every hour carried a sense of pressure, like the house itself was waiting for something to happen. She stayed focused, but her thoughts never fully rested. Each morning, she checked the doors and windows. She walked the grounds around the mansion and studied the paths leading to the hill. She learned where footprints appeared easily and where the ground stayed hard. She wanted to know if someone returned. No one came openly. Inside the house, Anna continued her work. She cleaned more rooms, not because they needed it, but because movement helped her think. As she wiped dust from shelves and floors, she felt closer to the people who once lived here. They had walked these halls. They had made choices that shaped what she now carried. The legal historian called again. "I have reviewed what you sent," he said. "These documents are strong. They show clear intent and shared ownership agreements." "What does that mean now?" Anna asked. "It means someone ignored them on purpose," he replied. "And someone benefited." Anna felt both relief and worry. Proof gave strength, but it also brought risk. The historian suggested one next step. A public record request. Once filed, it would create attention. Questions would be asked. People would notice. Anna took a full day to think. That night, she sat alone in the large dining room. The long table stood empty, just as it had for decades. She imagined families gathered here once. Quiet conversations. Careful plans. Hope for fairness. "I will not let this disappear again," she said aloud. The next morning, she filed the request. Within 2 days, changes followed. A letter arrived at the mansion, plain and official. It warned of possible inspections. Another letter spoke of zoning reviews. The language was polite but firm, filled with pressure hidden behind formal words. Then Mark returned. This time, he did not enter the house. He waited near the front gate, standing beside his car. Anna watched him from a window before deciding to go outside. She kept the door closed behind her. "You move fast," Mark said. "So do people who are afraid of the truth," Anna replied. Mark sighed. "You are causing trouble for yourself. This land has powerful interests." "It also has a history," Anna said. "And history matters." Mark looked past her at the house. That family tried to protect something they could not control. "They protected fairness," Anna said calmly. "That matters too." For a moment, Mark said nothing. His face showed tension, not anger, but something closer to regret. "You think this ends well," he said. "It rarely does." Anna did not step back. "I think silence ends worse." Mark left without another word. That night, a storm moved through the area. Rain hit the roof hard. Wind pushed against the windows. The house creaked and shifted, but it stood strong. Anna sat near the fireplace, wrapped in a blanket, listening. The storm felt like a test. The mansion had survived many like this before. So had the truth it held. The next morning, the town felt different. People looked at Anna with curiosity instead of warning. Some nodded politely. One woman stopped her near the store. "My grandfather spoke of that house," the woman said. "He said it once stood for something honest." Anna felt warmth spread through her chest. She realized the story was already moving beyond the walls. At the library, the clerk greeted her with a smile this time. More old records had been pulled. Maps were laid out on tables. Notes were copied and shared. The past was waking up. Still, pressure continued. Anonymous emails arrived, urging her to sell. Offers were made, each higher than the last. The message was clear. Walk away quietly and live comfortably. Anna deleted every one. Late one evening, she returned to the hidden room alone. She stood there, surrounded by stone and quiet. "You trusted someone like me," she said softly. "A stranger who might care." She placed her hand against the wall and closed her eyes. The fear she once felt was gone. In its place stood resolve. Outside, the mansion lights glowed against the dark hill. For the first time in years, the house was no longer silent. It was being heard. And as the truth moved closer to daylight, those who feared it felt the ground shift beneath them. The final door was close to opening. The final weeks passed slowly, but they did not feel heavy anymore. Anna felt steady, like someone who had already made peace with the outcome. Whatever happened next, the truth would not return to silence. The public record request began to do its work. Officials came to the town, not to threaten, but to review. Files were opened. Old decisions were questioned. The mansion was no longer ignored. Anna watched it all from the hill. One morning, a small group arrived at the house. A legal officer, a land historian, a local council member. They walked through the mansion together, quiet and respectful. Anna guided them through the rooms and then led them to the second-floor hallway. She stood in front of the wall. "This is where it begins," she said. She moved the furniture aside and opened the hidden panel. The group exchanged glances but said nothing. They followed her down the narrow stairs into the stone corridor. The hidden room felt different now. Not secret. Not afraid. Just patient. Anna placed the journals and maps on the table. The historian examined them closely. The legal officer read silently. The council member studied the old agreements with care. No one rushed. "This changes things," the legal officer said at last. "Yes," Anna replied. "It changes them back." The process that followed took time. Reviews, meetings, statements. But the direction was clear. The land agreements had been valid. Ignoring them had been wrong. The mansion family had not been hiding greed. They had been protecting balance. The news spread through the town. Some reacted with surprise. Others with quiet relief. Older residents nodded and said they remembered parts of the story but never thought it would return. Mark called once. "You have won," he said. "I did not win," Anna replied. "The truth did." There was a long pause. Then the call ended. Weeks later, a final decision was made. The land surrounding the mansion was recognized as shared under the original agreements. Development plans were cancelled. The house itself was granted protected status as a historical site. Anna stood on the front steps when the notice arrived. She held the paper in both hands, feeling its weight. The house stood behind her, tall and calm, like it had been waiting for this moment. That evening, Anna lit candles throughout the mansion. Not for ceremony, but for warmth. She walked through the rooms slowly, touching the walls, the railings, the door frames. "You can rest now," she said quietly. She returned to the hidden room one last time. She did not close it again. The door stayed open. The secret was no longer a burden. In the following months, the mansion changed. Repairs began. Careful ones. Respectful ones. The house did not lose its age or character. It gained breath. Visitors came. Historians. Students. Locals who had never dared step inside before. Anna welcomed them all. She told the story honestly. Not as a legend, but as a reminder. Some secrets were not meant to stay closed. One afternoon, Anna sat in the library by the west window. Sunlight fell across the books. The house felt full, not of noise, but of purpose. She opened her notebook and wrote a final line. Truth does not disappear when hidden. It waits. Outside, the hill was quiet. Not abandoned. Not feared. Just standing, as it always had. The mansion no longer watched in silence. It stood as proof.